Hi people, and hello my chili con carne crew. It's Chili here, the man who produces Design from My Eyes, and I'm doing a 5-minute review on Coldplay's newest album, Moon Music. Now, Chris Martin might be best remembered for his brief appearance on Modern Family, but a little known fact about him is that he also has a band. Yeah, I know, mind-blowing, right? Of course, everyone has heard of Coldplay. They burst on the scene with their debut album Parachutes with their song Yellow some 20 plus years ago, and the band almost became stuck as a one-hit wonder, but managed to grow and expand their sound past their early days and haven't looked back since. And now with this record, Moon Music, the band's 10th record, the band have announced that they will be wrapping up and calling it a day soon. Well, that was slightly misleading. Of course, the band are not going to quit music altogether, but rather are going to stop writing music, instead focusing on live performances, which is an interesting aspect unto itself. God, I miss the early days of the indie rock sound. Before Yellow was flogged harder than Charlton Heston during Ben-Hur, it was a great tune that was a perfect earworm, and I certainly won't put the band down for choosing it as a single off an album that was very solid. Not perfect, but very solid. I would enjoy the next 2 albums the band put out, but eventually, of course, they would lose me around about the time of Viva La Vida, when they went full tilt orchestral pop, and as a result I didn't know that they released 5 more albums after the fact, with the last being Music of the Spheres, which shares its name with a Mike Oldfield record, and Moon Music is considered a follow-up to that record. So how does it sound, and will it make me return to the fold of the masses? Meh and no, but let's explain why. Not gonna lie, the start of this album is rather surreal and beautiful, as the sound heard here is similar, I guess, to some lo-fi music. And for a moment here I thought we were going into a different kind of direction here, with some grandeur and inclusion of guest musician John Hopkins and his piano. But this was just grandeur by design to create an illusion for what we are about to hear. Feels like I've fallen in love again, spelt with no spaces of course, and compacted into one word, is the following song, and starts to deviate from that earlier tune heard with its compact drum loop and sappy Chris Martin vocal delivery for a song that I would say is rather forgettable, as it tries to tap into that IDM territory. Meh. So let's move on to the next song and lead single off the album, We Pray.
And so we pray for someone to come and show me the way. And so we pray.
Okay, we get that orchestral pop I was referring to before, but this time we have a list of guest musicians that I've just never heard of. From Burna Boy to Alina to Tiny and Little Sims. Guessing I mispronounce every single one of them. This is such a far cry from what I've heard the band do in the past. And yes, I know I am only talking about the first 3 albums really, but can you honestly say that this guest of musicians really add to the song, instead of making it a rather disjointed mess? Chris's vocals are at a completely different frequency to what is heard on here, as several of these musicians rap during sections of the song, and this is easily one of the worst tunes on the album. It seems about time to mention that Chris Martin had the audacity to accuse Taylor Swift herself for being unable to write her own music, and then it comes to light that this tune right here has 15 songwriters credited for its creation for this disaster piece that I'm guessing was hampered by having the equivalent of an orgy of chefs when trying to make buttered toast. And in the end, after all the fun and mess, it was just realised that no one even purchased a loaf of bread to make this dish to begin with. It's truly annoying, but I have no doubt that Coldplay fans will just lap this one up like the people in the movie of The Platform. You can't get any more worse than this, right?
And we were born for each other. Just remember, baby, what...
Well, yes and no. One of the following tracks, Good Feelings, leaves me feeling a bit confused, because it contains terrible lyrics and are just very redundant and overused, of course, making for a boring tune, and yet it has this very groovy bass line. It's both good and bad at the same time, but feels like a song that you would hear on a property developer's website as they pan out to a drone shot of the property. Then in the same breath, there is the song Jupiter, a nice little acoustic piece that feels like an obligation for the record. Hey, we're missing an acoustic ballad, Chris, can you play one for us? Yeah, sure, no worries. When it came to the rest of this record, it was a very forgettable affair, and if I have to give a shout out to at least one more track, it's got to be that last track off the record, One World, as this song just builds but goes nowhere, and it's just such a dull affair. Now, if word through the grapevine is true, and this is the second last Coldplay album we're going to get, then I am all for this, because this new sounding Coldplay feels more like they're trying to tick boxes and get plays more than writing music of any significance. Parachutes was released nearly 25 years ago, and that was written by hungry musicians. Meanwhile, this album feels like the thin little wafer that is stuffed into Mr. Creosote's mouth, and this album just exploded from the aftermath. Overall, I'm going to give this album a score of 1 million chilies on the spicy scale, with my favourite tracks being Moon Music, and that's it, because all the rest of them suck. I think it's safe to say that Coldplay had lost me years ago, and for good reason. The band have changed, and with it have earned a lot of success. Congratulations to the band for selling out and managing to earn $1 squillion in the process, and these last few albums have of course shown the fans the level of disconnect they have as songwriters by of course their panned reviews as well. If you don't believe me, go over to Rate Your Music and see what the reviews are like. It's no wonder really that they are only going to tour moving forward and stop writing music. If you've enjoyed this content, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to us, and stay notified for future music related content, because it keeps our manager happy at the end of the day. We are also on Discord, Instagram, Facebook, and all those other social platforms if you want to check us out. As always, people, you have a great day and stay spicy.